Welcome to the HireMyVA Team and Business Building Podcast, where we help you to reclaim your freedom through hiring and thriving with virtual assistants without breaking the bank and, of course, without breaking your bank. And I'm Dave Braun, and I'm here with my partner, my co-host, and great friend, Larry Broughton. And Larry, how are you doing this fine day?
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. I love you. Glad that we are doing this again
too,
today.
my friend.
Yeah. Thank you for living life with me, going on the journey.
It's a journey and it's a blast. It really has been. It's fun, man.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into the question. We've got another great one.
Okay,
so here it is. Is it a good or bad idea to hire friends and or family?
Wow. Hey, the eternal question, right?
Yeah.
Boy, it's interesting, Dave. You know, I think the gut reaction that a lot of people have is no, under no circumstances.
Yeah.
Right. But then if you look at organizations, some of the most enduring organizations, think about the Marriott chain, think about Chick-fil-A. It's a family owned business, right? And they're in their third generation. Is it third generation?
I think so.
At least their third generation, right? Mm-hmm. Truett and Dan, and now their kids are in the senior leadership positions. It can work. It can work. But it's tough. Let's just be honest. It's tough to make it work. Are there success stories? Absolutely. Absolutely there are. So maybe it might be easy, like, what are the pros and cons that come with this, right? Well, it seems to me, Dave, like the pros, like off the top of my head, is that you kind of know what to expect with some of these folks. I'm talking like
you kind of know the person, right?
You know,
their
the
values person and that kind of thing, right? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And on the friend side, some of the most enduring partnerships that we've seen have been friends. They went to school together, right? They've lived life together. Like you and I, we're friends. We were friends before we got involved with this. Has it been sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows every day? No, it's not. But
it hasn't.
No.
Oh man, it has for me. No, I'm just teasing.
You've taken me to task a couple of times, right?
And vice versa. Yeah. Well, that's because we care about each other, right?
Right, but it's how is it done is the key, right? Yeah. How is it done is the key. But you kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
So if I had to rank them, I would hire a friend before I would hire a family member. This is me personally, right?
Yeah.
So pros, you kind of know what to expect, and you, in some cases, you understand what their strengths and weaknesses are. In some cases, these folks are going to work hard for you. Now, there are other sides to the coin on all of these, right?
That's right.
And it's a shorter hiring process oftentimes. Some people forget when you hire family members, in many states, there are tax benefits of hiring family members. There is a deduction that you can, that the business can write off if you hire family members. And sometimes it does offer some stability, and particularly when it comes to successionship planning, right? It makes it a little bit easier. And one of the benefits that I've heard, now I went out years ago, I used to have a business called Tools for Success. And I went out and interviewed a bunch of multi-generational family-owned businesses. And I remember a couple of them saying that the trustworthy factor, in most cases, now we've all got that weird Uncle Bill or, the crazy cousin who is just off the rails that you can't trust. But for the most part, what they said is that there is no one more trustworthy and loyal and reliable than blood. So there is that element. Are there other pros that come to your mind, Dave, on hiring a family member or a friend? And then maybe we can touch on the cons.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit on them. The speed with which you can have them help in your business, the familiarity that you don't have to start from square one.
Yeah.
The values that hopefully are the same. You'll hopefully know what their work ethic has been like, right?
Yeah.
Over the course of the time. So yeah, there's a lot of unknowns that you get that are known like immediately versus sometimes taking a little bit of time when you hire somebody who's not a friend or family.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to let you start then on the cons. This might be the fun one. We might get some good laughs out of that.
Well,
So, Dave, what do you think are the cons of hiring family and friends?
Well, let me start off with a story. So I know somebody
Okay.
very well who actually hired like kind of a family friend. It was not just a friend, not family, but a family friend, somebody who was more than a friend, but not,
Mm,
blood family.
okay.
Very close relationships. And the person was perfect for the job, executed so well, had so much capacity, but then had a particular medical issue and did not um, deal with it properly, he wasn't upfront about it and all that kind of stuff. And it turned out that the person that I know had to actually let them go, fire them. And it ruined their relationship
Yeah. Yeah.
because of that. Right. So even though they had the same work ethic, knew each other well, high amount of execution, there was
Mm-hmm.
a maybe a hidden level of integrity or follow through that
Hmm.
was not there until a crisis happened.
Yeah.
And it wasn't discovered until that crisis happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically that's one of the cons, is when the relationship starts going sour and as a business owner that you need to make a change, that can be very, very tough. And if you
Yeah.
don't navigate it appropriately, and even if sometimes you do everything that you can, there's long-term, potentially permanent damage to that friendship.
Yeah. Yeah. In addition to that kind of difficult time firing someone or counseling or coaching them, right? Like in this situation, right? It's sometimes it's subconscious, sometimes it's not. Is that family members may be likely to take advantage of you and push the boundaries a lot more, like coming in late or taking these long lunches or whatever. Well, your family, get off my back.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and, and and a con might be that it's hard to you might be bringing your work life into your home life uh, a whole lot more. And another thing is sometimes it limits the diversity of ideas in the workplace. If it's a family member that
Good
you were
point.
raised with, for instance, and you share the same ideals, you probably share many of the same life experiences, so you don't get that diversity of ideas in the workplace. And there's also, when you hire team members from outside, societally, we tend not to bring a lot of our personal issues into work. But if
Yeah.
you're hiring family members, it's much easier for them to bring their personal issues into work. Like, Larry, get off my back. You know the hard time that I'm having right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing to consider is, what do you do with the other team members,
Yeah.
right? What's the perception that they're going to have? Oh, that's Larry's child, or that's Larry's, you know, brother. What do you expect? I can't give them the same feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know what I mean? There's that kind of
Yeah. There's
unspoken sometimes risk. What were you going to say, Dave?
Yeah, I was going to say there's always that perception. No matter what happens, there can be that perception by the other team members that there's favoritism going on. But it can also work the other way, is you as the owner can almost be overly hard on the friend or family too versus everybody else.
Yeah, that's right. But on the other side of that coin, the family or friend may think that they do indeed have special privileges,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
This is right. So things can potentially go quite poorly if we don't overly communicate this stuff.
Yes.
And these types of relationships can look like nepotism. So one of the great things I learned from Dan Cathy, who's now the CEO of Chick-fil-A, was that what they would do with family members is that they had to work 2 years, or no, was it 2 or 5 years outside the business at another organization before they ever came to work inside the organization. And when they came
Mm,
inside to work in the organization, they started out just like anybody else did. They had to learn how to run the stores, right?
yeah.
Um, and so they didn't hire, hey, the kid who just graduated college was not going to come in and be a regional VP, right, with zero experience. And so they had to prove their chops somewhere else. There are great organizations that have been built with family members. There's been great organizations that have been built with friends. But the key is this: you got to have the courage to have the tough conversations up front and to say, hey, here's what the potential challenges and pitfalls could be. How are we going to deal with this if this stuff comes up? Yeah. And then you need to have the courage to accept that things could go awry. And then it's up to you to decide, am I willing to risk it? Risk this relationship? But I hope that you have the courage that if things go poorly, to stay with the relationship. And I'm going to be honest with you, my former spouse and I worked with each other in a restaurant that we owned in Santa Barbara, and it was bad. It was bad. Okay, I wish we never would have done it, because and it was on me, as much on me as it was on her, is that I felt like since we were married, then she knew how I thought. And if she knew how I thought, that she would do things the way that I expected them to be. Yeah. And I was not as good of a communicator then as I am now, right? But we can't expect people just because they live with us to know how we want things done, telepathically, right? And frankly, we shouldn't. We should want diversity of ideas, right? In this. So great pros, got great organizations like Chick-fil-A, right? How many billions of dollars are they doing now? They're doing, I forget how many billions of dollars, $4 billion in business these days. They're doing something right? But for every success story, there's a trail of tears of hundreds that have not made it. Can it be done? Yes, it can be done. Tread lightly is what I would suggest, and communicate effectively.
Yeah, communicate effectively. And part of that effectiveness, I think, is you've got to be clear in your mind, and you got to make it clear in their mind when you're in there every day in the trenches doing stuff, but you got to be clear in your mind when it's friend time and when it's work time. Does that make sense? Yeah. So in other words, when the person puts the you got to put the boss hat on versus, the friend hat. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that, you don't have these friendly conversations in the workplace. It does mean that you as the boss, so to speak, have got to separate that out, right? You still have the friendly banter like you would treat them any other team member, but you got to make sure it's clear in your mind when you've got the friend hat on and when you've got the boss hat on.
Yeah, I think I misspoke. I think I said Chick-fil-A is doing $4 billion. I think they're actually doing closer to 13. I think it's close to 13 billion. Yeah. Now they're the third largest restaurant chain out there right now. So it's pretty crazy stuff. And it's a family-owned business.
Yep.
Okay.
But so our thoughts, I guess we could wrap this up. Our thoughts say there's pros and cons, and tread carefully.
Tread lightly. Tread lightly, communicate effectively. That's a good combo.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, let's do it. Let's wrap this thing up. Let's bring it home.
Close it up. All right. So thank you, folks, for joining us today. Remember, building a team is the way to reclaim your freedom. And Larry and I are here to help you. So 3 things we'd love for you to do right now. Don't leave home without doing these right now. We really appreciate it. All right. Number 1, subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already done so. Number 2, give us a rating, and hopefully 5-star. Do what you want, of course, but we'd love a 5-star. And then number 3, most important, go to HireMyVA.com, and you can learn a lot more about the course that we've got, the community that we've got, they're both so powerful and help so many folks. And the people that we've helped have just had, pretty much zero experience or awful experience with building a team. And without any experience, or even if you have bad experience, you'll learn how to prepare for, hire, and thrive with virtual assistants. We're helping folks in there. We love helping people. We've helped a lot, and we want to help you too. So just go to HireMyVA.com for more information.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hey, folks, if you want to do great things, you've got to be a great person, and you do that by living a life of significance. Okay. So do yourself a favor, do the world a favor, go do something significant today. So God bless you. God hold you. God keep you. All right, folks, go get them.
All right.
See you later. Bye.
See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye.